I was halfway through my usual Saturday oil change, same routine I've done for over 40 years, when my hand brushed against something that absolutely did not belong under my truck. A solid click, cold metal, not part of the frame, not part of the engine, something added. I grabbed my flashlight, slid back under the F-150, and when the beam hit the thing, my stomach dropped. A black device, magnet-mounted, an LED blinking red like it was alive. And the worst part? It was warm. Not the sun heated it warm. It was barely 60 degrees in Montana that morning. No, this had been turned on recently. I didn't yank it off. I'm old, not stupid. I took photos, angles, serial number, placement, like I used to document failures back when I was a mechanical engineer. Then I wiped my prints, popped it off carefully, and sealed it inside a Ziploc bag. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at it like it might start talking. A tracker, a professionally installed one. The kind that costs hundreds, not something a prankster buys off Amazon. But who would track a 70-year-old retiree who barely leaves his ranch? I ran through my mental list. Only 3 people had access to my garage this week. Jim, my 75-year-old neighbor, couldn't set the clock on his microwave. The propane guy, a stranger who had zero reason to follow me. And Dylan, my son. He'd been checking my tire pressure for 15 minutes earlier that week. Weird, considering he's ignored those tires for 35 years, and he doesn't care about my horses. Never has. So why was he really in my garage? But I didn't call him. I didn't confront anyone. One thing engineering taught me: never assume the cause. Test it. Observe. Wait. So I locked the truck in the garage. No driving, no movement. If someone was monitoring me, I wanted them confused. Day 1, nothing. Day 2, nothing. Then halfway through day 3, my phone rang. Dylan. Hey, Dad, just checking in. You good? Not, how are you? Not, everything okay at the ranch? He asked. Your truck working fine? Why was he so interested in the one thing I wasn't using? I lied. Told him the transmission was acting up. His voice tightened instantly. What exactly is wrong? Where are you taking it? How long will it take? 3 questions in 5 seconds. Panic. Real panic. Not for me. For the truck. When I hung up, I opened the drawer where the tracker sat. Its tiny LED blinked steadily, patient, persistent. Someone was watching me. Someone who needed to know where I was. And only one person fit the pattern. But I still wasn't ready to confront him. Because if the tracker was only step 1, then I needed to know what came next. When I stopped driving, someone panicked. But the moment I mailed the tracker across the border, my son's phone exploded with calls. And that's when things turned terrifying. The moment I realized the tracker was active, I knew I needed to flip the script. If someone wanted to watch where I was going, then I'd make sure they watched the wrong place entirely. At 6 a.m., I called the only man who never asks questions. Ray Fletcher. Old friend, truck driver, the type who's crossed every border in North America twice. He picked up sounding like gravel and diesel fumes. Frank, it's barely light out. What's going on? I need a package delivered, I said. No return address, no questions, straight to Winnipeg. He paused, then chuckled low. That kind of job, huh? 20 minutes later, we met at the I-90 truck stop. The fog was so thick, it felt like the world was holding its breath. His semi idled with that deep rumble you feel in your chest. I handed him a small box, the tracker wrapped in bubble wrap like it was something fragile, instead of something dangerous. Don't let it get scanned, I said. Ray's eyes narrowed. Should I be worried? No, I said, but someone else should. He grinned, tucked the box behind his seat, and climbed into the cab. "I'll text when I hit the border." And just like that, the tracker, and whoever was monitoring it, took off toward Canada. Now it was time to watch who freaked out. I went home, tried to distract myself, fed the horses, checked fences, pretended to eat lunch. But my eyes never left my phone. 3 p.m., 5 p.m., nothing. At 7 p.m., Ray finally texted. Crossed, delivered. Perfect timing. 10 minutes later, 10, my phone rang. Dylan. His voice was shaky, too cheerful, like he'd rehearsed it. "Hey, Dad, just calling to see how you're doing." "Fine," I said, "just washing dishes." "You're home, right?" That single question hit me like a punch. Not "how are you?" Not "need anything?" Just "are you home?" "Yes," I said slowly. "Why?" "No reason, just checking." I could hear whispering behind him. Brittany's voice, sharp and frantic. Then he added, breathless, "Truck still in the garage?" "Yep." The silence that followed was thick and ugly, like he was trying to calculate something in his head. Then, 3 hours later, he called again. "Dad, where are you?" Not even a hello. "I told you," I said. "I'm at home." Another whisper behind him. More panic. More scrambling. "Are you sure? Are you positive you're home?" His voice cracked, and for the first time, I heard raw fear. Not for me, for himself. He was staring at an app on his phone, watching my truck travel hundreds of miles away from the ranch, and he had no idea I'd moved the tracker. That night, I couldn't sleep. One question kept looping in my mind. If Dylan was tracking me, what else was he watching? And the answer came at 1 a.m., glowing on my laptop screen. Something that proved the tracker was only the beginning. The tracker was bad, but what I found installed on my laptop at 1 a.m., it was 10 times worse, and it meant my son wasn't just watching me. He had full control over my life, literally. I couldn't shake Dylan's last question. "Are you sure you're at the ranch?" He didn't ask because he cared. He asked because he thought I wasn't. But how would he know that, unless he had another way of watching me? That thought kept chewing at my brain until finally, at 1 a.m., I walked into my office. My laptop sat there, quiet, harmless looking, but suddenly it felt dangerous. Dylan had been helping me with it for months, fixing the Wi-Fi, tweaking settings, speeding it up, or so I thought. I powered it on and opened Task Manager. Most programs looked normal, stuff I recognize, but then I saw something that made my chest go tight. Remote Access Service.exe. At first glance, harmless, but I knew enough to recognize when something didn't belong. I didn't dare Google it on the laptop. If someone was watching, they'd see immediately. So I grabbed my phone, typed in the name. The results nearly made me drop the phone. Remote access software. Hidden. Silent. Allows someone to view your screen, control files. Use your computer like they're sitting right in front of it. This wasn't accidental. It wasn't a glitch. It had been installed 6 months ago, the exact day Dylan insisted on fixing my slow internet. My hands shook as I checked the access logs. Someone had opened my bank statements, my insurance files, my deed, my email, my entire financial life, and worst of all, it all happened when I wasn't home. He was watching everything, not just where I drove, not just what I did. He could monitor my money, track my movements, forge documents. All. I wanted to rip the spyware out right then, delete it, smash the laptop in half. But if I did, Dylan would know I discovered it. And if my own son was desperate enough to secretly spy on me, what would he do if he thought I was catching on? My stomach twisted. I couldn't stay in that office. I grabbed my coat and walked through the cold Montana night to my neighbor Jim's place. He opened the door in his robe. "Frank, did something happen? Can I use your computer?" I said. "Please." He didn't even question it. Minutes later, on Jim's old desktop, I searched the tracker's model number, and what popped up made every hair on my neck stand up straight. This wasn't just a device to see where I went. It could control the truck, remotely cut the engine, lock the brakes, shut the vehicle down at highway speed. A murder weapon disguised as a GPS, a tracker that could kill me, spyware giving my son access to everything. But when I took this evidence to a lawyer and a mechanic, they uncovered the real reason Dylan needed me gone, and it was far darker than anything I expected. By sunrise, I needed answers, real ones. So I drove straight to the two people who could confirm whether I was losing my mind, or whether my own son was really preparing to get rid of me. First stop, Robert Mitchell, my lawyer for over a decade. I handed him a USB filled with screenshots, tracker photos, and logs from Jim's computer. He clicked through them with growing concern, his eyebrows tightening more with every file. "Frank, this is serious," he said. "This isn't helping an elderly parent. This is surveillance. Illegal surveillance." My chest tightened. "That's not even the worst part," I said. "Check if anyone tried filing a power of attorney in my name." Mitchell typed for a moment, then froze. "Someone submitted one 2 weeks ago. Your signature, your information." He turned the monitor toward me. There it was, my name, my forged signature. Perfect, almost too perfect. If the notary hadn't questioned the ID, he said, your son would already control everything. Your accounts, your ranch, your medical decisions. My stomach sank deeper. But Mitchell wasn't finished. 3 days ago, he continued, someone tried using your ranch as collateral for a $340,000 loan. My heart dropped. $340,000? No bank would approve that, he added. This was a loan shark operation, the kind that collects violently if you don't pay. And suddenly it clicked. Dylan wasn't just spying. He wasn't just tracking my movements. He was drowning in debt, and he was trying to save himself by sacrificing me. Next, I went to Chuck, my mechanic. He took one look at the tracker's model number and shook his head. "Frank, this isn't for tracking. This device can cut your fuel, lock your brakes, kill your engine at 70 miles an hour." He looked at me hard. This was meant to cause a fatal accident. My blood ran cold. My own son had 340,000 reasons to see me dead. He forged my signature. He used my ranch as collateral. He planted a kill switch on my truck. But when he walked into my house the next morning, he had no idea FBI agents were hiding in the kitchen, waiting for his confession. I didn't sleep that night. Not after the lawyer. Not after the mechanic. Not after realizing my own son had built a perfect plan to erase me. By morning, the fear was gone, replaced by something sharper, clarity. I printed every piece of evidence, the forged documents, the bank attempts, the loan application, the tracker's kill switch function. I packaged it all and drove straight to the sheriff's office. It took less than 30 minutes before the room filled with state investigators, and then 2 FBI agents. They'd been tracking the loan sharks already, and Dylan's forged application connected directly to an active case. "Mr. Walters," one agent said, "we need your cooperation. You'll be safe. We just need him to talk." "Trust me," I said, "he will." The trap was simple. They hid small audio recorders around my kitchen. One agent waited in the hallway, another out on the porch. At 9:17 a.m., I heard tires grinding on gravel. Dylan. He burst through the door with wild eyes, sweat on his forehead. "Dad, why didn't you answer my calls?" He scanned the room like he expected someone else to be there. "I know what you've been doing," I said calmly. His face drained. "What are you talking about?" I slid the tracker across the table. Then the forged loan papers. Then the power of attorney attempt. Each one hit him like a punch. "Dad, I didn't have a choice," he whispered. "They were going to kill me if I didn't pay." "So your plan," I said, "was to make my death look like an accident?" He didn't deny it. He didn't even try. He just broke down crying, repeating, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." That's when the agent stepped in. "Dylan Walters, you are under arrest." He didn't resist. He didn't fight. He just looked at me with empty eyes as they took him away. Unfortunately, the ranch is quiet now. The investigation ended. The trackers are gone. The spyware removed. I lost a son that day. But I kept my life. And sometimes, that's the only ending you get.